What's up? Louis Gasparo from Queens Public Television here with Chris Caffery from Sabotage, Trans-Siberian Orchestra, and from the Chris Caffery solo projects that he has going on. We're at the Flushing Library in beautiful downtown Flushing, Queens on Main Street, and I'd like to introduce everybody to Mr. Chris Caffery. He's sitting right here.
How you doing?
Everybody's good, man. We're good. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm a little tired, but I'm all right.
You're a busy guy. I see that you know, you have some re-releases coming out of your solo projects, and you have your new album, House of Insanity, coming out. You said February?
Yeah. Well, what I'm doing with it, since I first had a deadline of the beginning of July if I wanted to get the record out this year, but mixing took a little bit longer than I thought, so I wasn't finished with recording and mixing the record till September. So what I'm doing is October 28th on iTunes, I'm having an exclusive release then of the record, and then February 9th I'm releasing the record into the stores, because I missed all the retail deadlines. Right. But I promised everybody that it would be out this year, so instead of sitting there and go, oh, you gotta wait.
You got the exclusive thing going on with iTunes.
Yes,
it seems
exactly.
to be, the advent of the internet has totally changed the record industry. How do you feel about the record industry and the changes that have happened in the past, like, say, 5 to 10 years?
I mean, it's in many ways just as scary as everything else that you see. You know, when you watch things happen to an AIG or a Lehman Brothers, I mean, there was companies that were just as big as that were folding in the record company world, and now there's just a couple monsters left and a lot of independents. And I mean, the business isn't doing great. It really isn't. The internet kind of it Pac-Maned away a lot of the sales, you know, because if people wanted music before, they had to buy it or
search for it,
at least trade it, something. But now everything's there with the press of a button, and you know, with times being tough, I know people want to try to be as honest as they can, but you know, if they have the ability to put food on their table or steal my record, they're going to steal my record. So,
no doubt.
You know,
no doubt. There was a big thing with Napster, and Metallica made a big deal about it, and you know, it seems as though music has become, it's taken away the mystique, and it's so like, what's the word? Conveyor belt. It's like so disposable now, because it's like you could order food, you could order clothes, you know, and you just order your music. It's I used to love having the album in front of me and looking at the album and going to stores and searching for, like, you know.
I would wait and find out when the record was coming, and I'd go into stores and ask if it came yet. And I think I'm going to do a small run of
LPs?
Of vinyl on this.
Yeah, that seems to be coming back, right?
I think the real, what's going on is the real music fans are sitting there and they want to stick out from everybody else, people that are true fans of the music and the bands. And by going back to the vinyl thing, it kind of, I think it's giving that outlets where you say, hey, you know, I'm supporting the artist, because the bottom line is, you know, if everybody ate cereal for free, Kellogg's would go out of business.
Right.
You know, if everybody ate chocolate for free, Hershey's would go out of business.
Right.
If everybody was able to just go and steal sneakers, all the clothes companies would go out of business. And then the record companies, I mean, all of our music's getting taken for nothing, and the record industry is going out of business. And it's scary. It's tough. It's tough for a lot of artists to make a living.
It's true, man.
I mean, I'm fortunate to have something like Trans-Siberian Orchestra in my life, and it makes, you know, that thing is very successful, and everybody in the Trans-Siberian Orchestra realizes how fortunate we are. We try to all the time to just make sure that, you know, we can give as much as we can back to the fans for what they're spending, because we know that money's tight, and we don't want people to ever feel like they're being taken advantage of. But that, in essence, is what the record companies did. CDs came out, and at first it was a rich person's toy to have a CD player, and because they were $400 or $500 a piece, and you know, they charged you $20 a CD, and I don't know how many copies of, you know, I bought Van Halen 1 on vinyl, cassette, CD. I lost the CD, bought it again. It's like they were counting on people with a lot of money to buy whatever CD it was that they had in an 8-track or a cassette or a record, and they did, and they should have seen it coming and lowered the prices below $10 before people said, I'm not paying 20. I mean, CDs were as high as 22 bucks.
I remember I bought Sabbath Volume 4, and I paid like $18 for it. And I already had it on album and cassette.
Oh yeah, exactly.
You know, just to move a little forward, and you mentioned Trans-Siberian Orchestra. I know you have a big tour coming up with them in November, and I wanted to ask you, How do you feel as a performer when you play bigger venues with Trans-Siberian as opposed to playing say smaller venues? Do you feel like do you perform differently playing larger venues as opposed to smaller?
Well, the main thing is especially with TSO, when TSO moved from the theaters into the arenas. In the theater, kind of like this venue we're in right now, you're on stage and you kind of focus your attention straight out.
Right.
In the arenas, you're on stage and you have to focus your attention, in a semicircle, around, down, up. I mean, and you have to move and perform, from a small area to where we're moving like 300 feet across the stage. So it's
Do you feel freer on a bigger stage?
It's funny. I don't think I do, because it's so big that you don't want to lose the music.
Right.
So you gotta actually pay attention a little bit more on the big stage than you do the little one. I mean, it's in some ways more controlled than it was in the theater, because in the theater you really weren't that concerned about, hearing things or feeling things. Everything was kind of right there.
Right, right.
In this circumstance, you definitely, you feel a little bit, not necessarily restricted, but you definitely have to pay attention.
You're further away from the band members, so you got to,
I mean, I like both situations. I really enjoy playing the big stages. I think it's a lot of fun, but I enjoy the intimacy of those really nice old theaters too.
People are closer to you,
especially with something like TSO, because it's got that story involved, and,
right.
And those theaters will have those little balconies, and they'll have the stars and the constellations in the ceiling. That's
pretty cool.
Yeah, it's there.
You got some shows coming up also. I see that you're playing with Uli John Roth, Alex Skolnick at BB King's on, I think it's Saturday, October 11th.
Yeah, Uli Roth is doing an Uli Roth and Friends concert, and he invited me and Alex down, and they go up there and play some old Scorpion songs with Uli.
That's cool.
Really cool.
Sales. I never know how to pronounce that song. What is it?
Sales of Sharon.
Sales of Sharon. Yep. Uli John Roth from the Scorpions, and Alex Skolnick used to be in Testament. And you're just another ripper that's added to the rippage that's going to be happening that day. Yeah, so you got that going on. You got the release of your new album going on. And what brings you to, like, the public library is not like a typical place for like a heavy metal guitar player or a band to play. What made you want to play at the Flushing Library in Queens?
Well, I knew I had the show the night before, and I knew I was going to be getting done really late, so I figured I'd find the place I could book to play the earliest the next possible day.
Right. That's cool.
No, actually, that's the joke side. I was contacted by Gina, the events coordinator here, and she asked if I would be interested in doing it, and it's something they do for the community, and I had no idea what to expect at first. I thought I was going to be coming in and playing by a bunch of books, but the venue's really nice, and I actually enjoy this atmosphere because I'm going to be able to play some stuff acoustically and sit down and relax and just play music and not really have to worry about sweating and things blowing
It's a
up.
mellow gig for you.
Yeah.
Check it out, Chris Caffery, new album House of Insanity coming out in February, touring with Trans-Siberian Orchestra in November. Your website's chriscaffery.com?
Yeah, or myspace.com/Chris Caffery, C-A-F-F-E-R-Y.
There you go, man. Chilling with Chris Caffery, heavy metal.